Okay, look, there are bigger, better writers than you. Those writers have hundreds of thousands of people in their audience. Those writers are also selling courses. And unless you're selling a course that no one else can teach, you're probably going to make zero sales. Because everyone will go to the safe choice, to the big ass writers who have built their reputation over years, and they will not spend money with you because you're the new person. So today I'm going to teach you how to make money on the internet using writing, but without selling a course and without any of the bullshit hype comments that this is gonna take a week. It's probably taking you 6 months, maybe a whole year, before you can actually make sustainable cash from writing. Yes, there are ways you can do it faster, but trust me, I've worked with so many creators, most people will simply not be able to do that. If you can, amazing, you're absolutely awesome, but most people simply don't have the capacity to do this. They have a family, wife, a busy job. It's simply not feasible to speed run this so fast. Hi, my name is Jordan Parker. I help creators make more money from their content and scale an actual business. I am writing hundreds of words every single day to promote my business, and I'm also working with two of the biggest writers of 2025 to help them promote theirs. It's fair to say I have some idea of how this writing stuff can work. I'm not sure where you are in your journey, but I'm going to cover all of it. Be careful to watch the whole thing though, because a lot of the steps I do very differently than most people, and if you just try to follow step 4 and 5, you will fail miserably because they're built on the foundation of steps 1, 2 and 3. So let's get to it. Step number 1 is you write to pick an audience. Here's how this works. To make money, you need a business. To have a business, you need people to help. And those people that you help are called your audience online. We want to start with that audience because without them, nothing else works. The way you find an audience is you pick a platform that you like. It can be Twitter, it can be LinkedIn, it can be Substack. I don't recommend Medium. Medium is absolutely garbage right now and it doesn't make any money. Or if you're adventurous, you can pick Threads and have a go at a platform that's relatively new, but it's still stable and not going anywhere. So you pick one of those platforms and you start writing stuff there. But you don't write your own stuff. You don't write content. You don't create content yet. This is not what you're here for. You're here to find an audience. So you start talking to people. Start talking to as many people as you can. Take note of which interactions you love and which interactions you hate. Obviously, you would want to hang out with people that you love hanging out with. Otherwise, you won't have a chance of actually maintaining this long term. Then continue hanging out on this network. Continue to have more and more conversations. Your goal is to talk to at least 100 people before you decide which audience do you want to serve. It's a pretty big choice and it's going to affect your business, and pivoting from there can slow you down immensely, so better take your time and not be sorry later. Step number 2, you're already talking to a bunch of people. Now you need to start publishing content. Based on your conversations, you have a decent-ish idea of what your audience wants. So you start writing about that, and you talk about that, and then you talk about it some more, then you talk about it in a different way, then you talk about things that you think that your audience might be interested in as well. Basically, you need to post a bunch of random content that is roughly in the general direction of your audience. And you see which content actually sticks, you see which content your audience likes and which content is completely ignored. Keep in mind, you won't get a lot of engagement early on. So this is not going to be a process that you start and finish at this stage. This is a process that you'll pretty much always be doing, and you will be doing this forever basically, because you always want to understand your audience better, and also you want to serve your audience better. And the more posts you put out there and the bigger your audience, the higher quality and the higher volume of feedback you get for every single post. The more you do this, the more you understand your audience, and the more we enable ourselves to do the next steps. At this stage, you're also going to see some traction. You start seeing growth, you start seeing followers, you start seeing all of the vanity metrics. Those are actually not vanity metrics for you, because they're the only feedback you have for your work. Likes, shares, comments, all of them have problems as main metrics for your business, but they're the best you have right now, and it would be way more fun and motivating to actually track and optimize them compared to ignoring them completely. So look at them, it's fine. Step number 3. Once you do step number 2 for several months, usually between 2 and 4 months, you start getting a little bit of an audience. It's not going to be a huge audience. We're probably talking about less than 500 people. 500 people following you is already a huge number, and you should be proud when you get that. Now, once you have around 500 people, is a good time to focus on building more trust with your audience instead of just helping them at random. The way you build trust is by increasing the volume of communication. Usually on social media, people will see one of your posts, then a bunch of time will pass, and then you'll see the next post. But how long passes between post 1 and post 2 is entirely out of your control. You can't control the algorithm. People will see your post when they see your posts, and they will often not see the majority of your posts. So we take control of that and we build trust using an email list. So you start start a free email list, use Beehive or Kit, whichever one you prefer, they're both free. You set it up and then you start promoting your landing page in which people can sign up for your email list. Initially, you can start with weekly emails, but later on you will probably want to send more than weekly emails. The whole goal of those is that this is guaranteed communication. People will on average open 30, 40, 50, even 60% of your emails, and you can use them to build a deeper relationship and more trust with your audience. And if you're worried that you don't know how to do the email game because it's so different from regular writing, you're right. Sending emails is very different from normal writing, but I have good news for you and good news for me as well, because you can join my email list, see how I am selling my stuff to you, and see which of my propositions work for you and which of my propositions do not work for you, and then simply copy the tactics that I use that work for you. And of course, once you make enough money to cover my egregious rates, you will want to buy my stuff because that would speed you up like nothing else. But for now, your goal is probably gonna be just to get the engine going. Next, once you are sending emails, once you have an audience, only then is the time you create a deliverable, you create an offer that you're going to sell people. An offer is simply an invitation for people to buy something. So you need to figure out what you're actually selling. Early on, the best thing you want to sell is a service. You don't want to sell a course. Courses are difficult to sell. You need a lot of sales to make a lot of money. You should start with courses if you're into marketing and if you want to run ads immediately. Otherwise, if you want to use organic reach and writing to do so, start with a service. It's so much easier. Services that you can start is coaching people on how to write better if you know how to coach. It can be access to you so people can pick your brain and understand your process better. It can be running cohorts, helping people write like you do, or it can be hosting a community of people to do something together. Just make sure it's something that you reasonably have a reason to sell, because yes, I can go and sell you a course on how to train your dog because I trained my dog once, but that doesn't mean I'm an expert in training dogs. It means that I managed to do it once. And unless you are an expert at something, you shouldn't tell people that you're an expert at that thing. If you're a beginner, you don't need to lie that you're an expert. Simply sell a cohort, helping people learn what you managed to learn in the past 3, 5, 7 months, and then teach everyone what you learned during this cohort and help them do the things that you do the way you do them. You won't promise them it's going to be the perfect way. You're simply going to promise them it's your way, and your way works for you, so maybe it can work for them. You don't need a big claim. Make a believable, reasonable claim that positions you as the person who you are and not as somebody that you are supposed to be, as some bullshit guru or something like that. That stuff doesn't work, and even if it does, it works for a very short amount of time because people catch on and then your reputation tanks and your writing career is over. So don't do it. Finally, step number 5. This is the most technical step, so the one that you'll cover the least in the video, because otherwise it's going to be like 7 hours long. And I'm very capable of doing that, but you're not capable of watching that. The final step is write to sell. Every time somebody is about to give you money, you need to sell them. And how do you sell them with writing? You write copy. Copywriting is just persuasive writing. You write in a way that gets people to do something. To do this, you present them with arguments why this thing is good for them, and then they convince themselves that they need this thing if they actually need this thing. Again, it's not lying, it's not making massive claims, it's about giving people an argument, and if people accept your argument, then they convince themselves that this is useful. The easiest way to do this is by using your emails. Inside of every email, you make an offer for people to buy whatever you're selling. When you start getting people raising their hands and saying, hey, I want to buy this, then you actually sit down and create a sales page for this. You'll make a very shitty sales page at first, that's perfectly fine, but as more and more people go through it, you are going to look at the numbers behind, you'll see how many people buy, and then you optimize it over time until eventually it is actually a very good sales page and it sells a lot. This overall process is a very organic way you can grow an audience from zero to an amazing superhero, and you can actually start making money with writing. It's not going to be fast, it's not magical, it's not instant, but in 3, 6, maybe 12 months you can turn this into a viable side income and maybe even your full-time gig. And as you do this more and more, your profit will continue increasing much faster than any job will. So it is a pretty sweet deal, but it does require some patience. So be patient and keep writing. Writing is awesome.